The push to put Parkersburg new trash contract to a public vote is drawing a response from the mayor as the petition committee waits for information it needs before its signature gathering deadline can even begin. Our Chase Campbell has the details.
Parkersburg Mayor Tom Joyce is pushing back against a petition effort that could put the city's waste management contract to a public vote and is telling residents they can withdraw their signatures. In a press release, Joyce says some residents who signed the petition were informed it would restore trash pickup by city employees. He says that this is not the case and that if the referendum succeeds and the waste management contract is voided, residents could be required to find and pay for their own trash service under state law. Residents who want their names removed from the petition can do so by submitting a signed letter to the Parkersburg City Clerk's office, either in person or by mail. The deadline to withdraw is May 1st, according to Joyce. Emails will not be accepted. The petitioners seeking to repeal the waste management contract disputed Joyce's claim that people who signed the petition were told that by doing so, city-run trash service would be restored.
No one who's collecting signatures, no one with this sanitation petition committee effort is telling anyone that sanitation services, city-run sanitation services are going to be fully restored if and when this is successful.
I have trained every volunteer that we have. They are all required to say the exact same thing, and that thing is that this petition simply puts the waste management contract on a ballot so everyone gets to vote, whether they want waste management contract or not. That's all they have been trained to say.
The petitioners are currently awaiting information from the city about signatures they gathered that were found to be invalid. The referendum petition initially submitted to the city was found to be insufficient, short by 672 valid signatures. Last week, Wood County Circuit Court Judge J.D. Bean ruled that the certification letter sent by the city was inadequate because it did not specify which signatures on the petition were invalidated or why. Under the judge's order, the city must obtain the list of signatures with explanations for why they were invalidated from the county clerk's office and deliver it to the petition committee. County Clerk Joe Gonzalez says his team is preparing the list and hopes to have it finished as quickly as possible. At that point, the petitioners will have a 10-day window in which to collect additional signatures. Petition committee member Eric Engels says anyone who signed the petition after February 27th will have to re-sign during the 10-day cure period in order for their signature to be valid. He says volunteers are prepared to gather those signatures when the cure period commences. In Parkersburg, Chase Campbell, WTAP News.